Hello and a warm welcome, everyone. Today we have with us Yana Bhageerutty, who happens to be a clinical psychologist, and she also happens to be a trauma-informed therapist. So we welcome her to this episode of The Inner Child Speaks. So a very warm welcome to you, Yana, for joining us from Mauritius. And so we just have a few questions for you based on inner child healing and inner child work. And we want you to, tell us a few things about how inner child work probably has impacted your life or the lives of your clients, and how it is so important right now. So why is trauma-oriented work important in the current age and time that we live in right now, according to you?
Gaurav, with the pandemic, there are a few things that have been highlighted in our experiences as human beings and as people of the world. There are themes which previously were there, but were not as highlighted as at the moment. For example, change, for example, uncertainty, resilience. And these are things that have befallen upon us at a speed that our system has not had time to clearly realize what's going on.
Right.
And in the process, there are a lot of questions that have come up, especially with confinement and people being in closed spaces with family members. For example, some people use avoidance, use withdrawal to cope with certain situations that they can't. But when you're in the same space for a long period of time, all these dysfunctional patterns sort of get activated. And to answer your question, why we need to look at it, especially in the now, because if we don't resolve this, if we don't understand how this impacts our lives, it can, in the long run, contribute to what I am thinking is going to be the next issue in the coming years of a rise in mental health among people.
Yes, that is, I think that is exactly, I mean, we all are going through a collective trauma, and if we don't focus on it right now, it's going to create a big boom, perhaps. So, you are a practitioner yourself, Yana, and and you come across clients and people on an everyday basis. So, based on the statistics, that you come across, how many of those people do you think need to be regressed back or talked about in terms of understanding and discovering childhood trauma? I mean, what is the percentage like of the people that you come across who you uncover childhood trauma contributing to their current reality, current problem?
First of all, Gaurav, we need to distinguish clients. There are clients who come to you with expectations and with needs.
Right.
And I found from my clinical practice that not everyone is ready to go beyond a certain point.
Right.
So if we do the needs assessment and the client, for me, normally the way I work is I ask them, where do you want to go? How far do you want to go? And sometimes clients do tell me, I'm not ready to go there. But for those of them who are ready to go past that threshold point and actually engage in what I call active work, I would say 100% we go into childhood memories. And I will explain to you why. Because when we grow up across the lifespan, we experience different versions of ourselves.
Right.
And in each version, we have experiences which contribute to a narrative that we have about our life, which comes to the autobiographical, contributes to the autobiographical memory. Now, the thing with this is that depending on the experiences we've had, and our perceptions and meanings that we attach to those experiences, based on what has occurred to us around those, sometimes there can be faulty perceptions.
Right. Right. Right.
And there can also be accumulations of experiences, which over time can create a structure like a filter through which our current experiences pass through. So we're still experiencing those faulty perceptions
Right. Right.
in the now.
True.
But once we are able to help clients see this for themselves, and I think this is where the work of the therapist, and not, I know and not everyone will agree with me on that, but this is my own experience. As a therapist, I find that helping people find meaning to their experiences is the first step to helping them help themselves.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for this. I mean, I think everyone needed to hear this because they also need to understand how, it is our experiences which contributes to who we become later in life. And if they are distorted, dysfunctional, and they are affected by, let's say, our childhood, our family, then of course, faulty perceptions and faulty ways of living life can dominate the rest of our lives. So thank you for that.
In fact, of faulty, the word faulty might not be the best word here. It's the best strategy and coping that the person found in the moment.
In the moment, which becomes a survival mechanism for that particular moment of time. But later in life, it may not help us as it helped then, and hence it becomes faulty.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So Yana, this is one question I ask almost every person who I am interviewing right now, that because you happen to be a therapist yourself, and we have to go through, I mean, we take sessions from each other. Even in our practice, we go through sessions. So what has been your experience with inner child work when, let's say, you went under the knife, as in you experienced it as a client? What happened to you, basically? So yeah, maybe if you could tell a little bit on that.
Lots of tears, but also lots of relief, because at the time, when you're growing up, you go through building your career. Yes, you're going through therapy, but I've been mostly trained in Western psychotherapy.
Right.
And you know a bit about my parcours. When I went to Australia to work with the Aborigines, my whole world got deconstructed because it was a different approach to psychotherapy to fit into a different population. And then I came back to Mauritius, and our population is multicultural and very narrative.
Yeah.
So being able as a person to go back into, and my history as well is not, and I think that's what makes you able to understand people when you've been through things yourself.
Right.
And you're able to do the journey, because then you can connect with the people you're working with on a different level. Let me give you an example. I've worked a lot with drug and alcohol.
Yeah.
And personally, I find it difficult to clearly put myself in their shoes, because that is not something that I've done.
Right.
But if someone talks to me about anxiety or depression, I get it spot on, because this is a journey I've traveled on.
Yes.
So going from my inner child in the process and healing, learning how to heal as I go, has not only helped me reduce my own issues, but also has helped me connect with my clients at a level that, when I compare it with drug and alcohol, I can't really go there with the client. Does that make any sense?
It makes complete sense. I always say that all healing at the end of the day is self-healing. So when we are working with them, we are connecting to our own real lived experiences and healing them simultaneously. As we heal them, we may not know that's happening to us, but it's still happening. So
absolutely.
Thank you, Yana. And so that brings me to the last question, which is, you all know that we have an inner child healing course coming up from July this year, 2021 onwards. It's an online course, and people from different parts of the world are joining in. 6-month long course with 6 classes, 3 support sessions, and 3 demonstrations. Essentially, 12 classes in total. So I would want to know, since you have been a part of programs where, I have taught and we have facilitated, what would be your advice to people on joining this inner child work? Why would you ask them to come for this course? Purely on the basis of you who have, come to our online courses and worked through us with us for almost a year. That's why I ask you.
To be honest, Gaurav, I love the way you teach. Not only are you a fantastic person, you've done a lot of work, your energy is just amazing. What I loved from the last course I did with you was the opportunity to be able to work at my own pace. As you know, I run several clinical practices. I have several contracts here and there, and time is a factor, and I cannot always be online. And the fact that you share those with me, and I can still be part of the class, because of the WhatsApp groups, and the training doesn't stop with the training. I mean, how long has it been since we finished, and we're still in the group, we're still doing exercises together. And also the content is not only for professionals, but also for people who want to engage on a self-exploratory journey. Yeah. And I would strongly recommend that, because if you're thinking of seeing a therapist, a lot of the groundwork can already be done by understanding the course and what is given in the course and where you're going. And it will save you a lot of bucks at the psychotherapist.
Thank you, Yana. This is truly, truly wonderful. I'm grateful to you that you came for this interview and you spoke your heart out. And I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from what you talked about trauma and how it is changing our current world and our own point of views about the world. So thank you, Yana, for joining in.
Thank you, Gaurav, for having me. Always a pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.